I love ladies. But don't worry, I never hit on them unless they want me to.
And if they want you to?
Well, then I make them a drink.
What is happening, Nerdtectives? Welcome back to another episode of Nerds at Night. I am your host, Blake Weather, the world's most okayest detective. How are y'all doing? I know y'all are doing good. We've put out so many good episodes lately. We've got two more after this one, all sort of that interview style where we're trying to get predictions from some of my favorite content creators, maybe some of yours. The episode with Megan was super fun. The episode with Ivan is super fun. We also have another episode up and coming. You might see the premiere for it when this comes out for Road Goes Ever On and On, sort of a newer channel, but they do really good. They do really good work. I found them not too long ago on my feed. Shout out to like YouTube feed, right? They always be giving you some good stuff. They're coming on, and then the episode dropping Saturday is the interview and predictions with the one, the only, Double P Media. Everybody just clap. Let's just clap for him. I'm giving you all the episodes that are coming out. What are we talking about, though? You guys know, if you're here, we're talking all about... I almost forgot to do that intro point because I'm just so excited about all the guests that have come on. I'm so excited to have Double P on for sure. Like, and you have to imagine, right? Like, he does a lot of his stuff video essay styles. So you see, like, you don't see his face. You just see a lot of photos going on, right? And so the world gets to see him unmasked. Not that he's definitely done episodes with his camera on, but it's just less frequent, you know? So that episode was super fun. And here's the kicker. So this episode's going to be a little bit different. Well, first of all, let's kick this off. I told y'all I'm going to be drinking whiskey with these episodes. Cheers. Cheers. Teneme Art Studio. I still got your cup coming through. I'm just waiting on, I ordered some boxes, some little boxes and then they sent me like, I guess I ordered the wrong size, or I thought it could fit. So just waiting on little tiny boxes to come in, and I'll get your cup out. But if anybody else wants one of the little glasses behind me back there, I can still get you one for sure. So just reach out to me in the comments, and we'll get started on just, finding out best way for you to send me some money and then me to send you a cup, right? Well, that's how we'll do it. But I told y'all if I'm going to be drinking, last week I did a 7-year whiskey. So this episode, we're doing an 8-year whiskey. This is a very easy one to find. Wild Turkey 8-year 101. It's very good. It's very good. Very nutty. It's got a nice little spice to it. Nice little caramel. Yeah, a little nuttiness, little vanilla in there too. Oh yeah, it's just very well-rounded. But yeah, this one is an 8-year. But let's continue with the rest of this episode because it's going to be a little bit different. I'm not doing a recap for this because I have been recording so much and editing so much and staying up late. Stayed up very, very late last night. You don't want to know how late I stayed up, okay? And then I'm not going to tell you. And I'm probably going to stay up very late to make sure that this one gets out on time and that the other two episodes are scheduled to get out on time because I'm going to be heading out of town. I'm recording this actually Thursday evening, but I'll be out of town Friday, Saturday, up until Sunday. But I want to make sure these episodes get to you. So because I love y'all so much, I'm going to be staying up late just to make sure this gets out to you. So love y'all. But here's how this episode's going to work. No recap. Y'all already know what happened. You've already heard a lot of, so far, the interviews that I've done. Ivan, Megan, you'll hear some other ones. You guys know what happened. I will do the clues. And the fun part about this episode is I cut out of those videos that I posted, I cut out a section where me and the guests, we read 2 comments a piece. So 2 comments, Megan, 2 comments from Ivan, 2 comments with Mark and Sterling from Road Goes Ever On and On, and 2 comments with Double P. So that'll be your comment section today. You're welcome, by the way. Like, I thought of y'all. I was like, what's the most funnest thing we can do? to make the comment section super fun before we go into episode 9 and 10. And it is some of your favorite and my favorite content creators. And we're reading y'all's comments. How fun is that, right? So again, I love y'all. And then right after the comments, we will get into the suspect board. You guys know how this works. One final time. I mean, next week will be the like final time, but we'll know where to move people for sure. But one final time with just the information we're given and just the theories we're given before. Again, we're sort of spoon-fed the answer by the show. I keep using that terminology, but I think it very much makes sense. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's the comment section. The comment part is going to be a bit length, but it's going to be a little longer than usual. But I mean, dude, you seeing? Do you mind? Do you really care? Like, I'm sure you don't care if content creators that are collabing on here are reading y'all's. I'm sure y'all don't care. So it's going to be so much fun. But yeah, let's get right into it. Again, not doing the recap. Let's just do a quick cheers. Cheers. And let's just hop right into the clues. Our first clue is we see Nikki and Camilla have some history that we didn't know about previously. Our next clue is we see V invites Mabel to a party and doesn't attend herself. Should we be suspicious of that? Next, we see Lorraine, who just happens to be in the lobby. Is that normal for a morning wife, or should we be suspicious of that? Our next clue we see is Camilla having PTSD over Nikki. Additionally, Camilla lets Nikki know that Bash and Jay are trying to bid to build a casino, and Camilla has the idea to buy the Arconia out to open the casino there. We also see Camilla initiates a plan out of jealousy to buy the Arconia apartment by apartment. Next, we see Camilla tells a story where she saw Nikki a week before his death, and he tells her he saw his wife cheating on him. He then agrees to open a casino with Camilla and agrees to have a private game night with her and the other billionaires. The interesting thing about Camilla's story is Nikki is wearing his gardenia flower on the wrong side of his jacket throughout the whole story. Should we be suspicious of that? Next, we hear Camilla mention her disdain for a doorman, but we don't know who it is. As we close the loop on Camilla, should we believe any or all of what she said? Since she could have perhaps recognized Loretta from the picture in Oliver's dining room. Our next clue we see is Loretta found Lester's elevator crank covered in blood and gives it to the crew. Whose blood do we think is on this elevator crank? Our final clues come when earlier we notice Lorraine blows a bird whistle, which alerts Vince's phone. This then pays off when Vince and Lorraine visit the trio, and Vince says he has an alert from the night Lester died and video footage from that night. We see Lester blowing the bird whistle the night he dies, and we see Randall picking up the elevator crank Lester dropped before he died. Y'all, those were all the clues I found that were new in this episode. But if there was something that stood out to you, let me know in the comments what I missed, or if there's something that was going on that was very suspicious to you that like, you're like, Blake, if only you saw this, you know, this would point to this would point to so-and-so. Let me know in the comments. You guys know I love some good clues, and you know I love talking with y'all. But now, like I promised, don't let me hold y'all up from watching this next section, which is, it was super fun to record with all these content creators. Let me tell you that. And I love the concept and the idea that we're all working together. Because there is, I know as fans, right? I'm a fan, but I know as fans, maybe sometimes there's like, well, I watched this person and I don't want him to know. Like, no, I would love the idea of all of us being in a virtual room, all the content creators, and us talking about this show. I think that would be so much fun. And again, like I watch all the scene invaders and, you know, Matt and Jess and of course, Double P, like everybody that I have on, or I've mentioned, like Miss Everything is fine. You know, like there's so many people that are doing great work. Even Movie Files. Like I know Elliot. Elliot's a nice guy. We had him on another channel, the channel that was a precursor to this channel. We had him on, and we were talking about Atlanta back in the day. And I've been on his channel before talking about House of the Dragon. So like, I know Elliot, and he does good work too. Like a lot of people do good work, and I love the concept that we can all get together, and we're excited. Like, I don't know if you know, like the content creators ourselves are excited to be working together. And I can only imagine as a fan, I know if I saw like two content creators that like I really liked and they cover the same thing and they got together, like I'd be freaking out. I'd be like, oh my God, I watched both of y'all. This is going to be amazing because y'all both do great stuff. I just had y'all in mind when I planned all this out. So I really hope you enjoy this comment section where everybody's sort of reading comments. The order is going to be, so in case you want to fast forward or you want to watch somebody first, it's going to be Megan. We're going to read 2. Then it's going to be Ivan. Then it's going to be Road Goes Ever On and On. and then it's going to be double P. So without further ado, don't let me hold it up anymore. Let's get right into the comments. We do have some fan questions, and let's get right into like two of them. Okay, here's one from Sherry7054. She says, I think the kicker will be that Loretta is working with the billionaires. She took over the ladies' night, sent Maple and Detective Williams in to get info. Loretta told everyone to go away. I believe that was a made-up story by Loretta. Possibly anything Loretta got from Camille were lies to throw off the trio. So there's a lot going on here, but it's essentially Loretta working with the billionaires and then everything Camilla's saying being lies. What do you think about that, Megan?
So I think I do definitely think from what Camilla said, I could see that being a lie because a bunch of people pointed out on Reddit, and I think Double P mentioned this too. We're just like singing Double P's praises this episode, but he's great. We love him. But she saw a picture of Loretta, so in my brain, it's like, yeah, unless if she was like already, intoxicated on martinis or whatever she was drinking, or maybe she just didn't place her. She would maybe potentially recognize Loretta or just see that she's sitting next to Mabel and make that conclusion and maybe would be like trying to manipulate her a little bit. So I could totally see that being the case. I will say though, the fact that we saw Camilla and Loretta together alone, quote unquote, like yes, they were in the casino, but they were like not being performative for the sake of doing that in front of Mabel or Lorraine or anybody else.
Right.
The fact that they were together and Loretta was like, wait a second, what do you mean by this? I feel like if they were working together, they would have had different interactions if they were alone. So I think it's an interesting idea, but I don't necessarily, the behavior doesn't seem to match that for me personally, but I could totally believe Camilla was lying for sure.
Yeah. I definitely don't think Loretta is working for the billion. And if so, it's not her, it's not Camilla. So then we can knock her off the list and maybe she's working for either Jay or Bash.
True.
I don't think that there's enough substantiated for me to want to go in and ride on that hype train. But I do believe like there is something off about Camilla's story. And one of the biggest tells is like Nikki's wearing a flower on the opposite side of his body. He's wearing it on the side that you found him when you found the body, not necessarily when you flash back, see him in photos, or when you see the Lester story, like when you see it, like it's on, his left side. And then in the whole Camilla's side of the story, it's on his right side. And you're like, I thought this very much like once I thought about it and I'm like, maybe who cares? And then like a lot of people kept bringing it up and I'm like, maybe this is an interpretive way artistically of mirroring like what exactly happened. Maybe everything in the story is a little backwards, just like that flower. Dang, I'm so artistic. Look at that.
I think that's a great observation. I like that because they do like a lot of, the way that they present information and the storytelling aspects of the show, they do like to take a lot of creative liberties with things. And I think a little subtle detail like that would be a really cool way to convey that to us. If you go back and look and then you're like, oh my God, it was there all along. Like that little clue, like I think that would be great. So I think that's a great point.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Let's do one more question here. All right. It's from Kenya 1326. Hi, Blake. I just watched episode 8. So I'm one episode ahead of this video. This was a comment on the old video. I'm still sticking with my original thoughts for the most part. A lot of it had to do with the mayor. I'm just interested in how so many pieces will be wrapped up in 2 episodes. I hope it doesn't feel rushed. I'm kind of feeling like there's going to be a part of the storyline that goes into season 6. She had a lot of thoughts. Kenya in a previous comment, I did talk a lot about the mayor and he's connected. I believe it's like she was talking about maybe him being connected to Randall or like there being something more going on with the mayor where essentially he's implicated. It does appear that way. It almost feels like it's a little too easy though for it to be the mayor. I don't know your thoughts on that, first of all.
So if it was the mayor, it does seem like things are pointing that way now, but it's like it's we haven't seen enough of him. I feel like, you think about other murderers in the past, it's like they're in and out of the story. Like Jan in season 1, she's introduced, then maybe she's like not there right away, but then she keeps weaving herself in and out. And I think the mayor we don't have enough information. So I think there are certain things you can make. I saw something. There seems to be like a guess that maybe like the "It's beautiful" text that Lester sent to his wife
Oh,
was
the Bo Tillman
autocorrect.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, that's an interesting thought," but, like, I would believe for sure that he's up to something, but if he was the murderer, I would be a little bit they would have to really wow me with the explanation, but I also think it's a really great and interesting idea that maybe it is too much to wrap up in one season, and maybe it will
Mhm.
carry into the next season, and I don't really know how many we have left, but that would be a really interesting way to kind of, like, carry this in and have it be a bigger mystery, so that would be kinda cool.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do see what she means by hoping it doesn't feel rushed, but I think
Yeah.
if it's indicative of this episode, it's like the bows are going to start being like, you know, it's going to have some neat ties to like
Mhm.
wrapping up a lot of stuff. On God forbid, unlike last season where like the end, I was just so upset with how many clues did nothing, how many plot holes there was. I'm still
Yeah.
upset about the shoe not matching from the shadow to the flypaper. I'm like, it's a different shoe. Like, what are we talking about? And it ends up
Mhm.
being the same shoe. And I'm like, what are we talking about? I was just very upset. I was just very upset. I have
Same.
PTSD from that season. I do think they will wrap it up, though. I do think I like the idea. I like the idea in theory of the mayor being involved, but like I feel like if I see it, I'm like, Jesus, this was it the whole like we've been guessing him since everybody's been guessing him since episode 1. Like it's this
Right.
easy. Like this is what you're doing now. This is what we're doing
Mhm.
now, Only Murders. We're making it very easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then also to the storyline going into season 6. I mean, there's still gotta be something. We still have some trailing ends from the rest of every season. And I do think personally they've got to end this in season 6 or season 7 to like make sure it doesn't just like go too overboard or people are like, oh my God, people are another dead body, bro. What are we doing? Like, how many people got to die
Yeah.
before we end the show, you know?
Yeah, for sure. But that brings um, do you think you have any predictions on who you think the next murder victim's gonna be?
Loretta.
Oh gosh, no.
I think so. I could be completely wrong though, but like it's got to be somebody you love. So it's got to be either like Loretta or what's her name? Irma? Yeah, right?
Uma,
Like
oh my gosh.
Uma,
Oh, that would
yeah.
break my heart. Oh my
I know.
gosh.
I know, but like you gotta kill somebody that like
Yeah.
people really, really like. You can't be Lorraine. We just seen her this season. It's gotta be like, and it can't be a main character, probably won't be. So like who's the next best? Like somebody you love, whether it's yeah, Uma or freaking Loretta. Who do you
Oh
think?
god. I think it could be, Howard, or it could be maybe Vince now that we're seeing him pop up here and there.
Ooh,
Howard has
okay.
just been so weird this season. So I'm very curious as to how that's gonna play out in the long term. I would be heartbroken if it was Loretta. That would be very because she's such a good actress and Martin Short is such a good actor with her.
Hmm.
That would be a tough watch next season emotionally. But it does make a lot of sense what you're saying for sure, and I think those would be good candidates. But I'm banking on Howard having some sort of bigger picture here.
If they kill him and don't make him the big bad, even though we all know he could be a big bad, like I think I'll be very upset because then I'll be like, you better come up with a great story for somebody else to be the big bad guy throughout this whole show. You
Yeah.
better come up with a good person because he's just kind of been the one.
Right.
So but some people think I've heard he's the murderer in this season too, and I'm like, it's a spicy theory, it's a hot take. I
Yeah.
don't necessarily agree with it because like every single season everybody was like, it's Howard, he's a weird cat dude, like it gotta be Howard, and it's never ever Howard.
It's like a sick joke at this point. It's like the show is like, let me spice in some like Howard sprinkles of just him being weird. And then we have other scenes where it's like, oh, this kind of shows that he couldn't have done it. So but
Right.
he's this season it's just like, oh, it's definitively proving that Lester died accidentally, or oh, all of a sudden I'm in love with this robot. Like, what are we
Right.
doing, Howard? I don't know. Jonathan needs to
What do you
come
call
back
the
ASAP.
Yeah, when he called the robot my short king, I about died. I about died. I'm like, this is inappropriate. This is not cool, man.
Look, this is not what I signed up for. Yeah, but he's got to have something to do in one way, shape, or form. He is not just a background character at this point. So
Mhm.
it'll just be I'll be interested to see where he folds in at the end of this. So
Okay, so this is, and we kind of talked about this, but I want to hear your thoughts. It's from Jessica Suarez, W7G. She says, watch the mayor's left hand when he's at the apartment. He holds it awkwardly, doesn't bend the pointer finger. He's wearing a prosthetic. Do you buy in that the mayor has a prosthetic finger? And it's been hiding it from all of us, and it's such a good hidden finger. Do you believe that theory?
I don't want to believe it, but I every time anyone brings up anything, it's always so valid.
Mm.
So that's why I'm just like, and the writing has been up and down this season to where I'm just like, I don't know if that's writing
Right.
good or bad. I just need to wait to the end. So like, I don't want to believe it, but I will accept it if it's the case.
I super dislike the theory, and I super dislike it. I feel like it's too sci-fi-esque, especially when people start thinking that like this person's a robot and that person's a robot. And I'm like, the fuck are we watching then? Are we watching the Terminator? Are we watching,
The
like
robot theories got crazy.
It
was valid though, but that's the thing. The robot theories were kind of valid, and I'm like, I don't want this to be true, but it makes sense.
If this was that show, I mean, maybe if there was more stuff in the past about like, but I can't get on board. And if that's the way they go, I'm gonna be upset. But like, shout out to you, if people out there called it. Like that's just what it is. All right, let's get to one more real quick. This is from well-known anonymous. This was written a few hours ago. Help me out here, please. If according to Vince, whistling a bird whistle gets him an alert on the Bird app and the camera at the fountain gets activated, which he usually checks out, then why did he not go down, check the cameras, or check on Lester the night he used the whistle? That is what he did when Lorraine blew the whistle. The way they established the whole birding situation, the camera footage should have been our first clue. Lester blows the bird whistle. Vince gets the notification, goes down to check, finds Lester's body, then checks the camera and sees Randall, shows the trio. Randall becomes the first suspect, and then the show picks up. I feel like the showrunners just dragged this clue. Let me see, till episode 8. Logically, it does not make sense to me. Also, Sophia with the mayor is my top choice, but Nikki could also be referring to Jay. Ooh, well-known anonymous with the J catch right there. With Sophia and the mayor having an affair, I think is what he's alluding to. Or they're alluding to. I don't know if it's he or them, but that's what they are alluding to.
It's Jay. Nice that they caught Jay. They're correct. I had not thought about that. It's hilarious because I feel like hold on, let me think about how I'm gonna say this.
Okay.
I appreciated The Last Jedi's cinematography.
Okay.
And I could defend a lot of the choices that were made.
Okay.
Up until it got to, I forget what, there were certain things that someone was just like, what about this? And I was like, yeah, nope, can't defend that. That was stupid. That's how I feel about this. I'm like, oh, yep, I can't explain that.
I can't explain it, yeah.
They got it. They are correct.
As soon as I read that, I was like, I was thinking about that like this morning. I was like, wait a minute, like if he saw that and then he's like, oh guys, one more clue. And you're like, where the hell was this clue when you saw him a few episodes ago, my guy? Like, you didn't know then? Like now you know?
That is so true, because to me, I felt like the season just jumped right in. Mm-hmm. Like if you watch the intro for every other season, it is a longer intro. It is more dedicated intro. But this one was like 30 seconds. And then it was like Lester getting ready, and then it jumps to them talking about the obituary. Less Vince coming up with them, that would have been an even better segue, because if he comes up to them while they're talking about that, they could be like, see, it wasn't an accident. It wasn't an accident. It's not an accident, like the police said, and it's less expository, because I felt like that first episode was super expository. But like, oh man, well-known anonymous, you are onto something. Get on the writer team.
I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, that explains a lot. And I do, again, I hear that we hear the chatter amongst the community about the mayor and Sophia. But I like that you put Jay in there, well-known anonymous. Like that is super good because I mean, we were just talking about it. And I think he's just kind of under, and I know your thought walking into this season was like, it's not any of the billionaires. But if you remember when we did our preview episode, Logan Lerman, Fee, and Sophia Ketchamilio were like on my top 3. So like secretly I am like, when we get to the end of this and we go to the suspect board, like I got a different place for where Jay belongs, I think, at this point, and it's a bit more higher than where he's at. And I'm not going to be surprised. I'd love it if it was one of this like new trickster trio, because the last time it was like, it's not the actors, and you're like, yeah, I know, but like it's fun to think if it could be. But this time, these folks are not playing actors, they're not playing themselves, they are playing fictional characters that could absolutely kill somebody. So I'd love that. I'd love it to be true, and it makes there's a lot of sense that it does make.
If it is Jay though that she's having an affair with, again, it fits perfectly with the Eurasian Jay. Tricking, gossiping, causing
mayhem.
Mayhem. It's just it fits perfectly.
I like it.
That.
I like it. Let's go ahead and hop into this first one. This first one's from Melanie Monroe 6696. I just had a thought. Camilla asked Nikki to organize the private game, but if the winner was going to be given the casino contract, she must have been going to rig the game so he could win, or so she could win. There's no way she would have been leaving it to chance. I mean, she pulled a gun to get the finger so she could get the contract. Nikki would have been in on it because it was going to be his casino. So of course he would have wanted to make sure she won. So would he have asked Lester or possibly Randall to be the dealer that night to rig the game so that Camilla won? It might make sense that he wrote poker terms down on the ledger. I think he being Lester. Maybe that's what she meant by fucking doorman. Maybe he didn't want to rig the game or got caught doing so. Loretta said, you almost had everything you wanted. And Camilla replied, fucking doorman. Meaning the doorman got in the way of all she wanted, Nikki and the casino. Sterling, what do you think about all that?
I just don't know if that whole story holds water to me. Like, I don't, it seemed like she had the contract when she talked to Nikki, if that whole story was true. So like, why would she need to, like, if she had that partnership, she wouldn't necessarily need to beat the other two. So
well, it sounded like it was her idea though, to do it. She was like, I want a game tonight. I want the other two to be there.
Yeah.
Why else?
So I don't know, but I don't think that the story we've been told, I think that's still one more lie that we've been told.
That's fair. Mark, what do you think?
Well, it does seem like Camilla was having some traumatic flashbacks of the knife hitting the poker table or the blackjack table. So I could see her witnessing the death of Nikki, regardless of, if it was Lester or not, which kind of like we were saying earlier, that maybe Lester killed Nikki in a way to get out. I could see that being traumatizing for her, especially since she had feelings for Nikki. So clearly that moment definitely shook her up. So I think there could be some credence to that.
I like that. I don't think that, I just don't think that Lester, I know he was there. He had to have been there. He knew that we knew who all was going in there, and he had amounts written down for the bids for this, for the casino itself. He knew a lot, but was he a dealer? Was he in on it? And I think the point in this comment too, where it's like he snapped, he didn't want no part of it. I think that is what was alluded to when she was like, fucking doorman. It has nothing to do with Randall. It has everything to do with like Lester being like, what are y'all doing over here? Like, y'all need to stop this shit. Like, we're not losing the Arconia. if he's the defender with his little elevator crank of the arc, if that's his Thor's hammer, like he's trying to fight off all the enemies of the Arconia, and perhaps discovering something like how far the deal went or not, that could have gotten him trouble. Like that could have been why we're like R.I.P. Lester. So that's interesting thoughts right there. I like that. Next comment comes in from Shirley Chung V8U. Have you watched the podcast on Hulu? In one of the episodes, they talk about episode 9 is a very emotional episode. And Howard, the actor who plays Howard, said that he cried a lot when he read the script. Is it possible that someone is going to die? We started with Sterling last time. Mark, let's start with you. Is it possible we see somebody die in this episode?
I mean, I feel like the end of this episode, we saw Loretta and Oliver being like, okay, we're going to try to save our home, the Arconia. And I think that, maybe it's setting up the murder for next season early, but I do think the tragedy of Loretta dying, I could see that being an emotional death. She's
in episode 9, though, not episode 10.
Yeah, I think maybe because I think it might spur Oliver or maybe allude to her death or something. I think that we will know potentially. This is theory, but I do think that Loretta could be that tragic moment for the show that is everybody crying.
Okay, Sterling, what do you think about that comment? Do you think there's going to be an emotional death that happens in this episode? And if so, who?
I don't think it's going to be an emotional death. I think that for me, this season hasn't been quite as emotional as last season with Saz's death.
There's a lot of moments like that, yeah.
I think that they are purposefully delaying it because I think that a lot of the revelations around how or why he died, I think are going to make going back to like the whole opera thing. I think it could be a very tragic story of why he ended up dying. And so I think they potentially wanted to delay that to make that kind of hit more versus, with Saz, we were mourning her loss and there'd be so many of these moments where we'd mourn her loss. Wow. And I think this one is going to have like all of that emotion, but at the very end instead of kind of like sprinkled throughout.
I agree. I think at the end, I think they're going to set up who killed Lester, and we're going to be like, no. And then whether it's a character, whether it's the way that it's set up, you're like, no, that can't be it. For somebody out there, they're hearing me when I'm saying no in character, they're hearing Lorraine, which I'll shoot. Like it's 3-pointer right there, 3-pointer in the last second. Like that would be some sad shit. You're like, you killed your husband, dude. Like what? And how did you get to that conclusion that you had to do? Like, that's super sad. For me, that's super sad. I'm not saying that's what would happen. But if I saw that happen, I'd be like, oh, no. And we love you, Lorraine. Like, what are you doing? So it has to hit in that same way. Otherwise, otherwise, I'm going to not cry. And like, it's something else. And I'm like, oh, God, what are we doing? Why is it? Somebody out there is like, Howard. Why is it Howard? But we're going to be set up for whatever that death is. And we're going to know that like you did. We're not going to see the death, but you're going to be like, we know you did it. And like, now we have to settle with that for another week up until we can get you to justice. I think that's what we're going to find out. And it can't be Nikki's death because we're like, fuck Nikki. Like Nikki's a cheater. Like he's not good. Like he's a criminal. Like what does he do?
No. I disagree. I disagree with all of that.
Oh,
I think Nikki was a great guy. He was pushed into it by Nona. He wasn't supposed to be this.
You're right.
Nikki wasn't supposed to be living this life. He didn't. And I think it was like the whole mafia thing was something he was pushed into by family. And it was something I wouldn't be surprised if he wanted out as much as Lester wanted out, and it wasn't an option. So I think they could make his death impactful as well as Lester's death.
If they can do that emotionally through the viewpoint of Lester the robot, which is what this next episode's supposed to be. Like, if you can do that creatively, like, hey, bro, this show's amazing. Like, we need to give it all the Emmys because I get it, man. Like, I think we live in the age now, movies, TV show, where like we got to feel bad for the bad guy. But sometimes I get it. Like, it wasn't his lifestyle. He wanted to write some poetry that he was horrible at, compare everything to A Summer's Day, all that good stuff. Even A Summer's Day to A Summer's Day. If you shout out to everybody, that's a great line right there. But I get it. But like, if you're doing bad stuff, he didn't seem like you could be like, hey, man, I want out of the game, but also, bro, you're cheating on your wife. You out here in the streets. Nobody knows what you're doing. Why are you on milk boxes? Like, why are people worried about you? Like, you can't be that good. Like, I would root
but
for,
he didn't cheat on his wife until he thought his wife cheated on him, and he may not have even cheated on his wife, and he didn't leave until that. So I think he was a good guy.
I didn't seem that way. Like, even Sophia at episode 5 is like, he cheats on me, and I was like, yeah, he looks like a cheater. But also too, it's implied that he met Camilla 2 years ago, and you're like, bro, you ain't getting some Camilla, you ain't getting your little Camilla vanilla, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I think within that time they built up something that's beyond just, hey, we have a secret handshake here. But if they can sell me some sympathy on Nikki, I'll write you a message to him about, you know what, Sterling, you son of a bitch. You're good. You're good.
He is good. He's often right.
If they sell me, Jesus, I'm gonna be like, okay, give me the lotto numbers because there's some winning coming on there. I like this. I like what's going on here. Okay, all right. This is a crazy one. So this one comes in from Mummy to Bob. I'm glad you're on the mend. I agree about the finger. I think it's another Dudenoff plot, like an unnecessary subplot. My latest theory is that Nikki has found out that Lester had an affair with his wife years ago, and his last child is Lester's. Sophia feels guilty for this, hence her ensuring Lorraine had money. As we know, Sophia isn't really well off. She told Charles she might lose her house. I think Nikki found out and killed Lester. Randall found the crank, confronted Nikki, and killed him.
Dang.
That is an interesting theory right there.
Well, I don't imagine Randall would do it. I've already explained the reasons why. But if somebody kills Nikki as a revenge for Lester, I'm giving them a pat on the wrist and then saying, "All right, you're free. Go free.
Go live
parole.
your life.
You've got parole, right? Yeah. First strike. You're fine.
Give him house arrest at the Arconia, just like
exactly. There you
go. Yeah, there's a lot going on in there. I do. There was a certain thought that we covered. It was the person said that Sophia isn't really well off. Well, we've established she's a liar. But the latest theory is Nikki found out Lester had an affair with his wife years ago. The Braden theory, where he has a mustache and Lester has a mustache, is it's quite interesting. Yeah, it's a bit of a hot take, but also if you again, just like you were saying, you turn the glasses, you turn them 1 degree to the left or to the right, and you see this whole thing in a whole other. It takes the investigation in a whole new direction. Did I just do that right?
Thank you, Brazos. Yes, I love it. Braden being Lester's child. I never would have thought it, but you look at that mustache. Yeah, there's some resemblance there to his papa, young Lester. I love it.
He's a little shorter than the rest of his brothers too, you know.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting thought to ponder on. I'd seen it somewhere, but I had pondered on it. But I'm glad that Mummy to Bob called that out. That's a good thought right there. All right, let's take a look. Oh, here's one right here. All right, so this is Lauren Harper 7571. Sorry for the long comment. So this is going to be it's not too long. I was thinking about Jay still being bandaged. Of course, it's not his finger, but I was thinking maybe Nikki or Lester bashed his hand. I'm not necessarily sure it was Jay sleeping with Sophia, though, because he just looks so young and like her sons, but maybe she's a cougar. This has a laughing face emoji, so that's funny. I have to rewatch a few episodes, but if Lester had the crank when he was running, I wonder if he had hit Jay or grabbed it from Nikki, ran because he was scared, thought someone was chasing him, like the billionaires did the trio, dropped the crank in the courtyard, but tripped and hit his head in the fountain. Trying to regain enough control and consciousness, he blew the bird whistle to get the cams to turn on. Randall picked it up and saw blood thinking that Lester had did something and ran away, but it doesn't explain how it got in the Velvet Room unless Randall is either working with the billionaires or Lester had trained him about the Velvet Room, which I thought was highly unlikely because Lester was staying, but they had ladies' casino night, so he must have known a little bit about it. That is a good point. Like they're having ladies' night, but you don't. Randall is in the front, right? Like he knows that this thing's going on. Like that means you know that there's a casino in your there's a casino in your closet. Like you just it's like it's right there. That point is a valid point. The rest of this though is I mean, we talked about Sophia J being together. I don't think you can't, when you're in love, this Double P. When you're ages, there is a certain number. Don't go to that number. But like when, if somebody's a little bit older than you and you're, in your 20s, 30s, whatever, like hey man, you like who you like. And then if they're okay with it, then if they're not okay with it though, then stop stalking people out there. But it seemed like in this case, like if that was the case, like, yeah, that's a couple I could see in my head. I'm like, yeah, a couple good looking people just doing good looking stuff. That's all I'm saying right there.
Right. Jay looks at Sophia's sons and he thinks she could be my mom.
Oh, this and that is Doritos joke of the night right there.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good. But yeah, I do wonder, like, this person's talking about a whole theory about, wondering if he hit Jay with it or grabbed it from Nikki.
Mm-hmm.
The point is the crank had blood on it.
Yes.
And
the envelope of money had blood
on it. Yeah. And the envelope is missing. I thought for a while that the envelope of blood was taken off of Lester. But as we watch more and more of these flashbacks, even this latest episode, we can see him in his last few seconds of what we're going to assume is his life. And like nobody comes up to him, like to come and like snag an envelope, which means it was already there. Like it wasn't on his person. We know that he was given the envelope because we see that picture with Oliver. So he was given an envelope at 5:04 or whatever time the wedding was.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time he's dead, he don't have it on him anymore. And it's got blood on it.
And it's been put back in the safe in the Velvet Room.
Right.
So how would somebody, once again, I'm looking at an hourly employee like Randall, how would somebody know to open the safe and put the envelope back there? Very, very, very tricky.
Very tricky, very tricky. But that's a great thought out there, Lauren Harper.
Yes.
There's a lot going on with there. I think there's a lot to your theory that you have, I think, figured out more than a lot of people, because I think a lot of people just have little strands of this and that. But that's a good cohesive thought, and I think all of those comments are important to have those thoughts, because a lot of maybe and you can tell me if it's like this with you, Double P. But like if I read a good comment and it gets the little gray cells going, and then you're like, okay, because of that comment, I now have this whole nother train of thought that led me down this whole nother thing that I would have never have thought about before. So I do
100%.
appreciate even comments like that one.
Love it,
sure.
Lauren.
Y'all, those were all the comments that we got into. I really hope you enjoyed it. I know it was a bit more longer of a comment section and section of the show than I usually do, but like, it's I like to rewatch it just to make sure that like the episode turned out okay, and I just know when I go back to rewatch it and hear like great guess, great like for me in my head, I'm gonna be like, oh my goodness, this is so good. So I hope y'all have that same reaction. If there's somebody you'd like to see me work with, tag them, tell them in their comments that I want to work with them, bridge that gap. I know when I mentioned Megan in last week's episode, somebody went to her comments, was like, yo, Blake from Nerds at Night was talking. And then she responded to me, and then we got in contact, and like, that's how because I really wanted to work with her. And I think episode 8 is just, it's a perfect time. It's a perfect pinnacle point. All that said, though, I really hope you enjoyed it. You can tell how excited I am to present this to y'all, and I just really hope y'all enjoy it. I had a blast. I've had a big blast over the last so yesterday at around 5:30 my time. So then today, like the last 36 hours has just been incredible with the content that I was doing. And then I went on Road Goes Ever On and On. Go check them out. By the time this comes out, that episode will probably be out or be close to being out. So go check that out. I hopped on their episode. It's just been podcast. And that's why the breakdown came out a little bit later. But yeah, it's just been such a wild ride. And man, life is beautiful. Life is good. Even with an accident, you know, there's still amazing wins to be had. So take that little piece of wisdom with you, right? If something's not going right, like there's always something where you can find a great win for. Yeah, that's enough of my TED Talk right now. All right, let's do the thing, because you know what time it is. It is time for probably the biggest suspect board that we've done all season. So let's go right over there. And before we do that, for sure, let's have another cheers for this being the most pinnacle suspect board that we've done all season. Oh, man, that's so good. Hopefully you're having a nice little toasty beverage yourself. And if you're non-alcoholic, hopefully like a water or like some grape juice or whatever you're into, a little Diet Coke or, you know, Coke Zero, Gatorade, whatever you're into, whatever you want to drink. Hopefully you're just having a nice little, as if we're just hanging out, right? You're having a nice little cheers to yourself. So let's hop right into this though, because we got some movement to do this week. All right. We're about to make some definitive lines in the sand right now, because there's not really going to be a whole lot of in between. Either you did do it, you didn't do it, or you did do it. So we're about to clear out the maybe section and about to make some definitive moves, but we're going to start from the bottom. And we know Oliver, Charles, Mabel, Vince, no way. I'm going to move Loretta to no way. And here's why. I think she dies the next season. If she doesn't, good. I don't want her to, but like, if I had to play some money, like Meryl Streep probably wants to do other stuff. She's been here for 3 seasons, like, you know, and you can't kill the trio, right? You can't kill the trio. What's the next best thing you could do? Kill somebody that we love. Could be Uma, could be Loretta. So I'm moving Loretta down. George, I know that I've brought him up, and I know that I get a lot of flack from y'all. It could be his finger, could not be his finger. Here's the thing. Whose finger is it? Right? Like, of everybody we've met, we've seen their fingers. And I know that it could be this whole prosthetic mess of like, oh, the mayor, he's got a fake finger and Bash gave it to, he could, you know, I'll fold. Maybe he could. Maybe that's what they're insinuating, you know, and he's, you know, I don't know. But like to have a finger that futuristic, like why do you need your old finger at that point? You got a, you know, bionicle finger. Like, why do you need your old finger, right? So with that in mind, I'm going to move George to no way. He's not a killer. I don't think he kills anybody. I know I toyed with the idea with Ivan and we're just playing around with ideas, right? Because at the end of the day, and you'll see even with the episode with Double P, like we've got more questions than answers, but we have a fun time. On that journey, we have a fun time. And I'm sure a lot of y'all too have a lot more questions than answers. And that's okay. Let's do this though. We're about to shake this up real quick. We're going to move all 3 of these billionaires to highly suspicious. I'm going to tell you why. I don't think they personally had a hand on the knife that killed Nikki. I don't think they personally were the ones standing in the courtyard pushing Lester. But I do think they all know, right? If they were there that night, they all know. And they're hiding that secret. And they're hiding that secret together. Bash is covering it up with security footage. Jay's not saying much. I think he's being ruseful. He's what's the word I'm looking for? He's creating a ruse where he has a fake little injured finger to try and look for the other finger. And Camilla is very devious. We know this. Like, she is very plotful. She's very vengeful. All these people play games. They like to play games. I think they're masterminds in Lester's death. And that's why I'm going to move them there. They're responsible, if only secondhand, for Lester's death, together and covering it up. They know that Nikki died. Maybe they didn't have a lot to do with it. And we'll get to the top suspects. But yeah, I don't. If they're responsible for one death, I don't think it's Nikki's. I think it's Lester's, because that damn, what was you call it? That the damn doorman. I don't want to get dinged by YouTube, but the damn doorman, right? But it's not Randall. Like, they point to Randall, and we'll get to Randall here in a second. But it's not Randall. It's Lester. He saw something. He caught them in something, and then they had to clean up the mess. So we're going to move them there, and I'll keep continuing on my whole theory as we work our way there. Teddy Demas, probably not, right? But we're going to move him to no way. Cachemilio boys, we've seen them twice. They could be strong enough. All right, let's move them here for right now, and then maybe we move them down. Lester, let's go to probably not. I don't want anybody in the maybes. I just don't want anybody in the maybes. Probably not. He probably had nothing to do with anything. Howard, no way, man. No way. I know his little robot, he loves it, and he's always by it, but yeah, no way. No way, right? They're saving him to be the big bad in like some sort of future, unless they kill him. Which, if they kill him, they better give me a damn good suspect to be the big bad of all of this, right? But I'm going to move him to no way. Lorraine, I'm going to move her to highly suspicious. And here's why. I don't think she killed anybody at all. I do think, though, she could have possibly set into motion things that ended Nikki's life. And I know a lot of this is all conceptual and ideas, but let me work my way to the top, and then you'll see where I'm going here. But how tragic would it be if she set into motion things to get Nikki out of the picture, and then somehow it backfires onto Lester? And how guilty would she feel, right? Like, how she'd miss him, she'd love him, like she would feel really, really bad. And I think that's why she feels so bad. Like, she was she had a part to play in setting things into motion. And I don't think she killed anybody, but she's not a maybe. She's not a maybe. She's just highly suspicious. The plot will come, and they'll be like, oh, you had a part to play in this, but you didn't kill anybody. But the thing that you did set into dominoes, right? She knocked a domino down, and it knocked down these whole other things. This is going to go to, so we've done the Cachemilios, and then we've done the billionaires. We're at Romy, and we're at the robot. I'm going to skip them for right now, just because there's somebody obvious I need to move out of the way, and that's Randall. Randall, we already know he didn't do anything. He retrieved the elevator crank, but what the deal is with him is he's going to admit that he wrote Die Lester Die because he was mad at Lester for something. He'll be like, yeah, guys, I did write it. It was about Lester, but I didn't kill him. But I found the crank. They're going to reproach him that, hey, you found the crank. It's one of two things. He would have had knowledge of the casino and gone in there and put the crank in there, and they're not going in there anymore. There's no more casino nights. Obviously, Nikki's dead. Or he gives it to a billionaire and they pay him money for it, and they hide it in there because they've been going back in there, right? We saw them almost catch our trio in there at episode 3, beginning of episode 4, right? So obviously they're going back in there. Maybe they were looking for the crank and the finger. Maybe they were just looking for the finger. Maybe they were looking for one, not the, they're llooking for something though. Because it was like, I think they said something like, well, let's begin. And then they hear the noise, right? So Randall, though, he got himself caught up one way or another. And also, too, I'm not going to be surprised if this guy's like undercover. Are we going to see Jermaine Fowler again as the doorman? No, but he didn't kill anybody. If he's an undercover cop, who's been planted there, and then trying to get more information on the billionaires so that they get arrested or they get implicated or something. That makes a lot of sense. They have to get implicated because the Arconia has to stay standing at the end of the day. Our trio has to live there by the end of the day so that we can have another Only Murders in the Building season. This doesn't look like it's the series finale, right? So with that thought in mind, the billionaires have to go. Then they no longer have stake in Wonderfy. That has to go. That deal has to go. So that way the trio can just be free to like talk about them because they were a part of this whole mess. All of that has to go. They have to go. They have to get implicated. They got to be taken out of the game. Even if they didn't do it, there's something that ties them back to it. And we're figuring it out piece by piece. But Randall has to go down. Now we have the robot and we have Romy. And possibly one of these two was chasing Lester in the courtyard. I don't want it to be the robot. I would rather it be Romy than the robot, but I have a feeling like maybe the robot got hijacked and pushes Lester into the fountain. He didn't kill Nikki, but pushes Lester into the fountain. You know, he's hijacked by Bash or something like that. There could be something where that robot got, you know, hijacked and then like causes that to happen. And good Lord, that's be the horriblest thing for Bash, because like if he's all about technology, you know, he can't have that come back to him. So we're going to leave the robot in highly suspicious. Romy, until further notice, she's done nothing to come off the list, but also like, honestly, she's done nothing to deserve it, but just like be there. Now, the thing with Romy is, was she the voice in that documentary of the doorman that we saw at the beginning of episode 2? Somebody said in the comments, it could possibly be her who was doing the documentary on the doorman, so that way they could input, you know, like, hey, we've got some footage of doorman. This is how they should be acting. This is advice. Let's make sure the programming for the robot, you know, yada, yada, this connects 1 and 2. And if her uncle's Bash, why wouldn't she be assigned to a project like that? Like, that makes sense. You know, she's got a camera in episode 1. She's taking pictures. She might be, you know, into video and photography and stuff. Yep. That could, you know, walk with me here. I mean, I will say if Romy is involved, it's only because the mayor is there that night. And it would have been to help him, I suppose. Would she always be there with the mayor? I mean, so far, everywhere the mayor is, there she be. So to chase a doorman, to push him in the fountain, you know, like, you know, I will say, you know, Mayor Tillman said she was fast, you know, so you know, she could chase somebody down, be like the T-1000 in Terminator, just running, chopping after the car, you know. I'm just going to leave her there because I'll be honest, like there's not a good reason why I should remove her. I don't think, honestly, I'll be honest, like I don't think she did, but I am really trying my hardest to like fit her in this puzzle in being implicated to do it, but it's just really hard to, of the two, the robot or Romy, I'd be like the robot, evil robot, bro, evil AI. You think they're going to have an AI robot, you know, in the Arconia next year? No, they've got to get rid of him somehow. How do they do it? Because he's evil, because he could harm people, because Bash be hacking into, you know, technologies and stuff. You know, he can hack into robots, he can hack into computers, hack into anything that he's programmed to. We're not going to get the robot back next year. Paul Rudd won't die that way next year. They'll have to figure out another creative way to kill Paul Rudd again in a season. Won't be the robot, though. This leads me to the top 3 suspects. And this is interesting because a lot of people are saying Mayor Tillman. Yeah, I hear Mayor Tillman, but like, did Mayor Tillman kill Nikki and then kill Lester? Like, is this how this works? Because I don't believe that. This is not a one-man job. Mayor Tillman may have, in a struggle, killed Nikki as Nikki pulled a knife out to go after him, to go after Jay, to go after somebody who was in the casino. That part of the story that the billionaires tell, I do believe. Where did Nikki get the knife? Would have had to get it from the kitchen. What else is in the kitchen? The shrimps are in the kitchen. Who went to the kitchen to go get shrimps? Was it him Was it Lester? We know there were shrimps in the casino, right? And then we know that there was a finger missing that we think happened in the casino that was placed on one of the trays of shrimps. Now, a lot of people are saying Lester grabbed the finger, maybe went to the kitchen to put it in there, put it with the shrimps in the refrigerator, I would imagine. Like, and some people say he put it in there to warn the trio. I mean, they could have grabbed any of the other trays of shrimp. For all we know, like Howard could have gotten one of the trays of shrimp that had the finger in it. Some people are saying that he was looking for it because he's highly implicated. Maybe if like Howard is one of the big bads here, some people called it. Like they've been doing that song and dance too long. Like, I don't believe it. Right. All that said, I do think the tragedy of this is Sophia Quetzalcoatl is very involved. She's lied too much in this season. She is probably responsible for killing Nikki. And then that's just my guess. Whether she's responsible in the fact that she was having an affair with the mayor, and then is like, hey, mayor, kill him for me because he's bad guy. You know what I mean? Could happen. That seems to be like the running thought, right? And then Lester sees this happen. The mayor's like, hey, you guys want to open a casino? You off that guy. You kill him. You figure out a way. Like, we've got to, he's going to go tell people, he's trying to escape. He's trying to run away. And then they take care of Lester for him, I think, in the form of maybe using the robot and then erasing the footage so their hands aren't dirty. My theory, and I'll be honest with you, this is what I'm sensing the show is going, not what I want to happen. I would not like a robot to be the killer. I would like it to be as simple as like, Camilla freaking killed Nikki and maybe her and Jay were an item and like, Jay goes after freaking Lester, because like the billionaires are like old New York, new New York. New New York is trying to take over old New York, right? Like the new kids on the block, they're out here swinging and banging and killing people. And Bash is like, I'll hide this for you. If we're all going in on a deal together, if we're doing something together, I'll hide it for you. Let me know what we're doing. But that's my deal. I think Sophia Quetzalcoatl set her husband up to die that night. She needs to be implicated as well, whether it was Mayor Tillman or one of the billionaires, either Bash, who we've seen hold a meat cleaver, not very well, right? But he has been, and he throws knives too. Like, what if nobody stabbed him with the knife? What if it was thrown? And we've seen Bash throw knives. That's interesting. He says he doesn't kill people. Also, the mayor's suspicious because he's passing blame onto Bash. This is where it gets complicated. When you start looking at all the details and the nitty gritty, the show really likes to throw you off. But if it's not Mayor Tillman, one of the billionaires killed Nikki. Sophia Quetzalcoatl is involved in setting this all up, probably with the help of Lorraine. If I had to guess, her and Lorraine are like, how do we set up Nikki? He's got to go. We can make some money, or like this will help Lester. Sophia's telling Lorraine, this can help Lester. We can set this whole thing up. Are you in this with me? Yeah. Okay, cool. Because think about Tommy the Tongue. Why are they using Lorraine and Lester's address? Why they pull out money once shit hits the fan, they pull out the money. No more money in the company account. Like, this is all very suspicious, right? And we see consistently just Sophia Quetzalcoatl lying about what she knows her husband does, lying about like, what's your friend's name? Charles, right? When she sees him on date night and she's like, savage, right? Like, and you're like, ooh, she really. And then if you remember, she had Charles's phone. So she knows what the trio knows. She didn't erase anything. He said that they had everything, but she knows what the trio knows. So then she probably knows to lay low or to go in and hide any clues. Also, if we think about this, nobody's really talked about this. Her family comes from construction. We all know that that's sort of mob affiliated, yada, yada. If you were, think about this, if you were opening a building, besides getting a permit, which you'd get, from the city council office, what do you need to build a casino? You need a construction company. You ever thought about that? What if all this they're doing is for Sophia Ketchamilio and not for the mayor, right? What if they're looking for her bid? What if the finger is something to do with her? Like it's not her finger, but like a family member. You look at all the Suns' hands, they look like they have all their fingers, but like this all means that it's somebody that we haven't seen on screen. That's somebody that lost a finger that night. And I know there was only 5 people in there, and we know Nikki was one of them, but he was misbirded, right? He was there. Lester was there. Lester didn't really count himself. Who was the other person? Mayor Tillman. Did Sophia come? Did she surprise everybody? Is that when all hell broke loose? Is that when Lester couldn't write any more notes? I don't know, but think about that from a logical standpoint. Like there could be more tie-ins with Sophia Ketchamilio than people have even been talking about. And that construction part, if you're opening a business, you need to have construction on your side. That may be the person that you need to get the final blessing from, right? So I don't know. Keep that in mind. Something to keep in mind. But I think Sophia is involved in killing Nikki. Maybe through the mayor. Maybe not. Maybe it's a crime of passion. And I think the billionaires together as a trio, one of them, or use the robot to kill Lester. He fits in here. I don't know. That's my final guess. Those are my final guesses. So I say I don't know because like nobody in this suite is ever the killer. So we're going to do this. We're going to move Thea on down to highly suspicious. She is still suspicious. Like, don't write in the comments, but she's so suspicious. She is. That's why she's in highly suspicious. But I can't think of any top reason why she's the killer or like what the hidden motivation is. The only thing that is very interesting though is if you look at her Instagram, I think her Instagram account is called It's D or like It's Me or like something like that. And like I just kind of read it one day and I'm like, what if they're saying the killer it's D? Like what if they're saying that like in a not so subtle way? And we know that the show likes to play with names, right? It likes to the whole Cliff and what's his name falls down the elevator shaft and marshals have guns. Old back in the day, right? Old westerns, marshals have guns. Marshall had a gun. Marshall shot, Saz. I couldn't think of the other two, but there's examples of like names are possibly implicated into the kills and how they happen. So who in this the obvious one in this scenario is Bash. He bashed somebody over the head. All right. Well, you know who got bashed in the head that died? Lester. That makes sense, right? Like that obviously makes sense. Who else has a name that could possibly point to some form of like hurting somebody or death or something? I don't mean to point the finger at Thea. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying looking at her name drove me down this hole. And it was also the talk to today with Double P. It really like got my little gray cells flowing. But I don't know where Thea fits in all this. And if we're to believe that anybody who lives in the suite and the Arconia is never ever the killer, then she's not the killer. But it is just rather interesting how she pops up all the time, her being around Charles's and her buying a whole suite and maybe knowing or not knowing that homegirl Camilla is buying out the Arconia, right? If she did know and she's like, I'll work with y'all and I'll help y'all out, but let me have a suite in the Arconia. I know you're working on this plan. And they're like, deal, but you got to help us with fill in the blank, right? Doing something grimy, doing something like Randall, hiding a little, lever, right? Being maybe actually one of them two going to get the finger, I don't know. We'll see. There's so many other questions that I can't answer, much like everybody else. I can't answer it. But the best I can do for you is Sophia Ketchamilio and the mayor are on one side of the kill, billionaires robot on another side of the kill. I hope I'm wrong. And then all of this could be, again, orchestrated by Lorraine and Loretta. I kind of like that idea. as a sort of traumatic or tragic drama. I do like that idea that's how they're involved. They didn't kill anybody, but they set things in motion. I hope I'm wrong though. I really hope I'm wrong, and I have moment. But I hope I'm right about one side. Like if I'm wrong about one, cool. If I'm wrong about both, wow. Again, that's why I'm the world's most okayest detective. But what did y'all think of the suspect board? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I know. I already know a lot out there. Like maybe some people agree, they don't agree. I know. I don't think anybody's going to fully agree 100%. And maybe between now and Monday, I might have some revelations that open my mind to something new, seeing something that I'm not seeing right now. Because I'm a bit stumped. I'm a bit baffled. But I'm trying to do my best with all the evidence that we're given and pointing suspects into the lanes that they belong in. I think based on more questions that we have answers. So let me know where you placing people in the suspect list. Who's the most suspicious to you? Again, just because people aren't highly suspicious does not mean I don't think they are not suspicious. I think that they are highly suspicious. We're just not putting anybody in maybe. We're having to make a clear line going into episode 9. So let me know your thoughts. I'm sure it's going to be very controversial. I'm sure I'm going to hear a little bit of heat, and that's fine. Because I know I don't have it figured out. But I think what we have is, I think it's gonna be we're good. If we get a good 60-70%, I'll be happy, right? So love to hear from y'all. I'm going to continue to go on tonight and edit, and I drink some whiskey and edit this video so that way we can get it out to you in the morning. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for tuning in to all the other interview and prediction videos. Again, once you see this one in the evening, the Road Goes Ever On and On, that episode will come out. And then Saturday, I'll put it out for the morning time. Double P Media, we did an episode. I'll have that episode out by then. I'll have them premiering. If you guys ever seen a premiere, you guys can start it at any time. You can catch up to where it's at, rewind it, or let it play all the way and then catch it later on. It's just going to premiere, so that way people can, watch it live like it's a TV show or something, have it going like it's a TV show or something. I think it's really cool. So I hope you enjoy everything we're putting out. I know it's 5 episodes, but you guys said you liked a lot of you're like, hey, I like a lot of content. And I'm like, you know what? This is a week to be able to do a lot of content because I can't do this every week. I don't get no sleep, but I love y'all. So thank y'all so much for commenting, for being a community, for enjoying everything that's being put out. Thank y'all so much. Y'all are awesome fans. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or Snapchat. It's all Money Blake Weather. Follow Nerds at Night here, Instagram, X. Click like. Tell a friend if they like the show that you're like, dude, this is dude, we're getting to the edge right now. We're getting to the edge of the cliff, and we're about to see what happens on the way down. Let them know. If you haven't already subscribed, please do that. I know a lot of y'all have, but if you haven't, that'd be great. But thank y'all again for just letting me entertain y'all. I know this was a bit of a longer episode, but I'm sure y'all don't mind. I'm sure y'all do not mind at all. So let me get back to the Nerd Cave. Let me get to editing. It's been great hanging with y'all, and I will see you on the other side of episode 9 next week. So like I always say, as we round out on these episodes, I love y'all. Y'all are awesome. Whether it's morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time you're listening to this, I do appreciate you. I really do. And until next week, I will see you. Peace.